Okay. So Gemini, the very first thing that I'm seeing here, kind of interesting, different parts of the month. First thing that strikes me is that towards the end of the month, you are going to be experiencing some real satisfaction. Um, Empress is here. She's a card of satisfaction, abundance, vitality. Everything's flourishing. And this Nine of Cups is also satisfaction. It can mean a wish fulfillment. It can mean doing things that you enjoy. Sometimes it can even mean like too much of a good thing or overdoing it. The fact that they're both in reverse tells me that something may not be as good as you wanted it to be, or you thought you were going to get more than you actually get, or what it tells me is you could be overdoing it a little bit. So maybe pull back, like if you're eating a lot, or if you're partying too much, or overdoing it as far as like buying too many things, or Empress represents Venus, that Aphrodite, womanly, fulfilled, satisfied, feminine pleasures, like pleasures of food and table. So if you're overdoing it in any area that has to do with like Taurus, the senses or sensual pleasures, food, bed, table, you might overdo a little bit. Be careful of how much, if you're drinking or if you're imbibing in anything or spending too much money, anything that has to do with too much pleasure. This says be careful of overdoing it, but you're going to be enjoying things at the end of the month. I just wanted to point that out first because it was the first thing that struck me. It also is lining up with the Sun card. Sun card is one of the best cards of the deck, so there's going to be a lot of fulfilled energy here, abundance, vitality. I'm going to take a look at what's coming up at the beginning of the month. It looks like we've got a little bit of a struggle here. This is heartbreak. Three of Swords is traditionally like heartbreak or indecision or something that really just didn't go your way, something that's like hurting you, or third wheel energy, indecision and worry. It's a challenging card. The fact that it's in reverse either tells me you didn't see it coming, or that it's not going to be as bad. It's not like going to be something that gives you a nervous breakdown or a panic attack. It's just going to hurt your heart. Something might be on your mind or hurting your heart, and it may have to do with something with a parent, or traditionalism, or a Hierophant represents stability and structure and spirituality and doing things in a traditional way. So there may be something that has to do with having to do things in a spiritual way, or an authority figure that, is kind of being rough on you or disappointing. This is Three of Swords can be disappointment. It's not a major disappointment because it's not upright, but there's some sort of way in which an authority figure is disappointing to you, or is cause for disappointment, or a way in which tradition is holding you back, or you thought that you were going to be able to do something innovative, but they said no, it has to always be done the same way that it's always been done. So there's something that's heavy on your heart at the beginning of the month. It might have to do with struggles at the home. It might have to do, Seven of Wands is traditionally struggle, and or fighting something, or standing up for what you believe in, some sort of like noble fight. And then the Four of Wands is celebration and joy and festivity, excitement. But because these two are in reverse, it just feels like struggle in the home. Instead of celebrating and being excited and having joy, there's just like this tension is what it's showing me. And you're kind of feeling like you have to fight the fight. And someone's saying, no, this is the way it's always been. You got to do it that way. You got to follow tradition. And this is what traditional roles are saying. And this person's in a place of authority. So you're kind of feeling a disappointment by that. Or you're feeling like there's something on your heart about that. In the middle of the month, you have Hanged Man, Page of Wands, Queen of Wands, and Sun. Because these three cards are fire cards, I'm seeing there's some kind of like, there's some kind of maybe reunion or a way that you've been able to work it out. If there was challenge and difficulty in the home, Page of Rods and Queen of Rods are kind of like making up. He's looking at her and she's, you know, doing things, and she's very attractive and she's willing to speak her mind, and she's very bold and courageous and, you know, does things in her own way. And the sun being next to them says, okay, here's these two people who have worked it out. And maybe they've taken off all of their garb of, like, you know, feathers in their hat and crowns, and they're just being people. So maybe what it is that there's some sort of thing about traditional roles or things always being the way they were. But they do come to like a unified place in the middle of the month. So if you're having troubles with your spouse or someone in the home or your child, oftentimes Page of Rods can be a younger person. So if there's a younger person that is giving trouble to the mother, or you know, is acting like a boy or acting like a young girl, don't worry, there's going to be a reconciliation with this sun energy. And Hanged Man says, you know, there's some enlightenment in just doing things your own way. And even when you're feeling upside down, you know, if you just take a moment to just be who you are and not worry too much about it, Hangman will bring you some enlightenment. And it also echoes the sun. Like, usually there's a halo around Hangman's head, and the sun tells me you're gonna get there through just marching to the beat of your own drum. You don't necessarily have to follow all the rules of Hierophant. You can be who you are. That's what Hangman says, is like, just, you're comfortable just hanging out. You don't need everyone's approval. You can just be at peace there. And that by doing that, that's where all this reconciliation comes from. You don't necessarily want to follow all of these rules. There's something that's challenging for you about that. But if you just do your own thing, reconciliation will happen. And then towards the end of the month, there is this proclamation of love or willingness to wear your heart on your sleeve. Knight of Cups does that. He's someone who says, you know, I'm willing to speak my mind. I'm willing to speak about what I feel. I come with a message of love. And even though this Hermit feels a little bit isolated, he may not, when Hermit is in the upright position, he's willing to look at the truth and he's willing to dig for the truth and do whatever it takes to find the truth. When he's upside down, what it means is like isolation and not necessarily a willingness to look at the truth. But even so, having spoken your mind or saying what's on your heart is really going to give you a sense of satisfaction. It's really going to give you a sense of, I feel complete, I feel whole, I feel like I got a wish that was fulfilled. It may not be exactly the way you wanted it, because you know, wish fulfillment in the upright position means you get what you want. This is upside down, so you may not get everything you want or the way you wanted it, but you're still feeling pretty fulfilled. And I'm going to say that's from having spoken your heart. You know, Knight of Cups is a messenger, and he's a messenger of love, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. So even if it makes you feel, I'm getting a little bit of energy about, because he's surrounded by these two very solitary figures, Hermit and Hanged Man, there's a way in which you're kind of like going out on a limb, or you are feeling like you're all on your own by being, and you feel like maybe you will be singled out or isolated, or you will be alone by saying what's on your mind, or giving this message of love. By doing it, it actually leads you to a greater place of fulfillment and satisfaction. Again, because they're in reverse, maybe not everything you wanted. If it's a spat or a domestic issue, you may not get the resolution you hoped for, but it's going to be a lot more fulfilling to say what's on your mind, to say what's on your heart. You'll at least be heard, and you'll walk away from that feeling a little bit fulfilled. So, whatever challenges appear for you at the beginning of the month, Gemini, just be your own person. You know, speak what's on your heart. And it looks like everything else will resolve here. It looks like whatever relationship this represents, Page of Rods. Both of these people are pretty optimistic. Both of them are very vital people. They both kind of go for it. And it looks like you come to a nice union here. Sun is shining, wish fulfillment, abundance. So whatever struggles present themselves, beginning of the month struggle and home, tradition, and a disappointment, by speaking your heart, even if you think it's going to isolate you, you actually resolve everything. So see if I'm going to say for Gemini, focus on this card, Knight of Cups, and see if you can embody what Knight of Cups is. If you want to look it up, there it's on my website, readingsbygwendolyn.com. There's links to each of the cards. But speak your heart, even if you feel isolated, and things are going to resolve for you. You'll end up feeling abundant. And that's my reading for you for July, Gemini. Thank you.